Hi guys, in this lesson we will learn how to use the variables, how to use expressions in the mathematical operations, store values in variables, and much more. First, let's open up our notebook, Jupyter Notebook here. We will type in Jupyter Notebook in your command prompt, and it will open your local server here. You will see it has opened our default paths. These paths, C users Acer, and all the folders are printed out here, and this is our created Python folder, and inside of Python folder we have a lesson folder. Inside of it we have already explained the expressions lesson here, but we will create another Python file and name it like variables. Let's create it. Okay, we will rename it to variables here and click enter. Here, this is our first line. From here we could add a couple of lines, and in these lines we are running our code. First, let's get to know the expressions and operations, how we could sum, minus, divide, or multiply, or make some calculations in Python. This is very simple. You are just typing your numbers and clicking Alt and Enter, or instead of Alt and Enter you could even click on this button, Run button, and click Enter. But I will prefer to use the shortcut. If I minus from 65 to 23 and click Alt Enter again, it will print out the result. And if I just divide 25 to 5, you will see that it will print out 5.0 as a float number. If I print out it to 6, you will see that it will print out lots of decimal places, numbers here. But if I want to avoid this one, I will add additional slash here and click Alt Enter, and it will just round up your number, and will not print out the numbers, these numbers here. It will just cover or skip all these numbers here and throw them and print out the numbers before the decimal point here. See, 25, 2 slashes here, click Alt Enter. You could see that the calculation is very easy. You don't usually use these numbers as they are. Instead of these numbers, you will use the variables here. How we will use the variables? First, let's just why do we use them? We use them because of the simplicity. Because when I have a result, this result 77, I want to use this result in somewhere inside of our code, I will use just the variable here. But practically you would get to know them better. Let's see that we want again to sum some numbers here. We have a number. First, we are just assigning the variable. How we assign a variable? Like this one, x equals 4, y or y equals to 8, for example. And I want to sum these variables here. I will assign z to x plus y here. And click Alt Enter. You will see nothing is changed because we haven't printed out this z number. If I type in z and click Run, it will print out 12 because z holds the values or the sum of values of x and y, and here we could use z anywhere you like. That's the power of variables. Whenever you want to use them, you could just assign their values to the variable and use the variable instead of that value inside of your code or somewhere else. Okay, variable can start with a letter or underscore character, but can't start with a number because they are case sensitive. Like this one, you could start a variable with small capital letter like this one, V or S, or you could type in name and equal sign. Usually we will assign variables like this ones, surname, because in this case it's easy for you to memorize the variables values, and according to their values you will just assign the variable name here. You don't usually use the variable in uppercase, but you can use it. You can use the uppercase here, like this one. It's normally it's normal and would not be considered as false, but usually practically you will use variable with not the capital but with the lowercase here. And also be sure that you will not use a variable with the dash like this one, name dash this one, or something like that. You could use the underscore inside of the dash, but also you could use the underscore before your variable name like this one, but I prefer to use this one, name one. If you have a couple of names, you could just assign them respectively by assigning these numbers with the help of the underscore here. This is just a quick introduction. You can't use the variable with numbers like this one. It's not affordable, and we have already summed the variable and we know how to use them. X equals to 4, y equals to 8, and z holds the value, the sum of these variables here. But here these variables could just be written differently. Instead of x and y, we will just type in after comma and will equal these signs like these ones in order to save our place, as this is, it looks also more professionally. This 4 value corresponds to this x, while 8 corresponds to y here. The code would run again without problem. You could see that the result is the same here. Variables also are case sensitive. What do I mean? You might have 3 variables. The first one is the Michael, for example, and if you want to create again the name, and you will create it with the uppercase and give the value here, this variable will be different than this one because these variables are case sensitive. Again, if you just make the E uppercase and give them another value like Chandler, and you will just print them out. Let's print the name, click Alt Enter. You could see that you have an error because it says that name is not defined. Why? Because we haven't run this code. Let's type in here and run this first, and after that we will run this one. You could see that it will print Mike. If I, after Mike, print the second variable, the third variable, you will see that it will print out all of our names based on their values respectively. But here you could see that we have like the values in quotes. In order to avoid them, if you want to give an additional functionality here, how you should print them out, you should print them with the help of print function here. You are just adding the print function with lowercase. You are opening the parentheses and closing it, and inside of them you will print out them, and it will just print your values perfectly. But if you want to give a concatenation or add something in between them, maybe I want to add a slash between these numbers, how should I do this? I would have to concatenate them like this one with plus signs. Python works, these plus signs means concatenation. One plus sign is the concatenation of one plus sign is just concatenate one string or word to another. These ones, let's, if we will put the bracket here and type in slash, and between these ones we'll also type in bracket and slash and click Alt Enter, you will see that these slashes are coming between them. If I will add just space, you could see that it will print out the names, and between them we have a space here. This is the space, but be sure that you are putting the concatenations on both sides of the variables here. When you have a variable, you should definitely have the concatenation near it. Let's see that I want to print out something hello and give the variable name. I can't give the name like this one. I should concatenate it with the sign of plus, and it will print out hello Mike. You could see that we don't have a space, white space here, because we haven't given it here. We are just concatenated this variable to with this name. In order to give a space, you will just add the space, and here you will add one more concatenation here, and see, it will print out the result. You can also, if you want to give the tab or something, we have this word like the tab here, \t, but this one always works when you are calling the print function. If you want to give a tab, you should make sure that you are surrounded your code with print function, and print should be lowercase, and click enter. You will see that it has added a tab. Tab is a lot of spaces here. If I just add one more tab here, it will add one more tab inside of your code like this one. We have a lot more to say, but this is just the basic use of variables. You should know this. Always be sure that you are using either double quotes or single quotes. Don't ever use double quotes mixed with the single quote like this one. This is the variable surname equals, if you're first, you will have a double quote and you will have a name, and then you will have single quote, this one. This code will not be run. In that case, you should either change it to single quote like this one, or both of them you will change to double quotes like this one. It will also work well, but I always suggest you to use double quotes in case you would have the single quote inside of your code like this one. For example, I am a student, for example. If you will run it, you could see that we have a single quote here, but if you change them to single quotes here, you will put an error, you will print out the error. In order to escape this error, you should put like backslash and make it work. And this just gives you an additional difficulty, and that's why on your first try, just try to use the double quotes here around variables here, and it would work perfectly okay. It would work just good here. And that's it for now. I think that this is the basic terminology of variables. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Have a good day. Bye.